I'm still looking to get an original copy of this Tumultuous Petitioning Act. It's quite important. This is what I've found here. Tumultuous Petitioning Act 1661. There's only the Wikipedia page on it. I'm going to have to reply to Kew Gardens to get an actual copy of the full act, because I don't think that it's up in full yet, or I haven't yet found it. But I just clicked on this, right? In relation, basically, right, here we've got, look, Sir D. Walker Smith asked the Secretary of State, I think this is the sessions in Parliament, right? 1968. Asked the Secretary of State for the Home Department whether he will now introduce legislation to make it an offence analogous to the offence in Section 1 of the Tumultuous Petitioning Act 1661, which apparently got abolished. For more than a prescribed maximum number of people to proceed to an embassy for the purported purpose of presenting a petition or complaint or otherwise demanding access to an embassy. Mr. Callaghan, no. So, no, he's not going to introduce legislation to make it an offence analogous to the offence in. But the thing with an embassy is this: an embassy is like what Julian Assange was in, isn't it? It's meant to be considered foreign territory. You know, like within the embassy, it's almost like those American military bases, isn't it? It's home. It's kind of like home ground away, isn't it? It's like, you know, you once you enter this, it's like sacred ground, isn't it? You know, like in the Highlander. You know, it's considered foreign territory within the embassy. So Callaghan says no. So according to this, we need to check this out. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. So you can go there to present a petition. So that's almost like diplomatic immunity, isn't it? Diplomatic exemption. Now the thing is, we've just been arguing about, you know, advertisements and painting to promote petitions, and the fact that really you have got full immunity if it is to advertise a petition. You're equal footing to the council, and you've got the authority to use whatever materials the council has got authority to use. Any materials in the repertoire of the council which they can choose to use, or at least on public areas and land you can use. The argument comes down to private land. Now, when there is public access to somewhere, where you've got public access, you know, like walkways, or it's visible, you can do it. Now, the interesting thing with the service of notices is that when you're delivering petitions or notices, it clearly states in the legislation that you can deliver it by attaching it to the property. Attaching a copy of a notice or advertisement to the property. Now, when we legally class advertisement, it can be paint. So if you've got an apartment block, this is all in law theory, and this holds up in the legislation, right? If you want to be creative with it, and by God, the other side be as creative as they want when they're trying to try to get people charged, and that's what's got Max Hill. Max Hill has brought charges unlawfully. He wanted to completely undermine and write off the existence of half of these rights with intent, and that's criminal. It's perverting the course of justice. And he's already clear. He said he was stepping down in March, but it's not professional negligence. It's not professional negligence. It's intent to steal rights or deny their existence. It is perverting the course of justice. Max Hill needs to do prison time, and then they've just now brought these. Not only have we just presented a case where he went to the High Court himself. Max Hill himself, he went to the High Court. It's his decision. well, he sent one of his agents there, one of his representatives. It was his orders to go and get Angela prosecuted in the High Court, when he knew very well it can't be professional negligence. These people are meant to be professionals, and the councils know all about that legislation. He tried to steal and deny our rights because they didn't want us to have them or make use of them. And that is worse than being a criminal. It's worse. There were murderers, car thieves. He wanted to steal the rights of an entire nation so we could not be in a position of equal footing against the authorities when we're challenging the authorities. And that's almost like wanting to play a football team against someone with, half a side, 10 versus 5, or while one team has got no clothes on, they're naked, or, where, you try to claim one team can't touch the ball. How can you win a football match if you claim the other team can't touch the ball? To oppose the council on equal footing, you need to have the same powers as the council and use the exact same materials the council can choose to use. And the fact that half of these corporations are now, they've got millions, trillions, they've got trillions at their disposal, and they've got all these advertisements in the streets, especially for them. We have to obstruct the pavements, all along the pavements, obstructing the pavements, all along the pavements, in the streets, on billboards. It's an infectious covering of what used to be a beautiful environment, beautiful towns, beautiful cities. Look at the 1800s. It's just spam with adverts and installations. And in Max Hill's eyes, he's like one of these caricatures from The Running Man or, RoboCop or something like that. It just goes straight over his head. He's just not there. He's in a corporate art world of, legislative lines that he thinks we should all comply with as if we're some technological machine, but yet he is overriding them himself unlawfully. It's despicable. The fact that Charles stands up at the World Economic Forum and he's going, we're beyond leaders now. We're beyond leaders now, boys. Beyond MPs, beyond the Prime Minister. Beyond leaders. Beyond the king. I'm the king, but I'm a beyond leader. I'm beyond the king. With trillions at the disposal. These companies, expanding Syngenta, getting planning permission through McDonald's after McDonald's after McDonald's after McDonald's. And, we'll just get some planning permission through, approved by the council, slam the hammer down, and we're in the street, in the middle of the pavement, in the middle of the road. Big light-up billboards with flashing glowing letters at the sides of the highways, at the sides of the bypass, on the sides of buildings. Everywhere you look, adverts. Who's slamming the hammer down and approving all these everywhere? There's something defectively wrong with Max Hill. I think that he has made the transition into Android, but a faulty malfunctioning one. He might as well have a Bluetooth link to, Elon Musk's, back pocket. And then, we changed Twitter to X, so I didn't see that one coming. This whole Jeff Bezos fueled corporate enterprise with the planned robot machinery of the future, it literally is like, the Running Man or RoboCop movie actually happening. Yet, unfortunately, in those films, the hero actually wins. The hero, look at this. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. How does he defeat all these people? And Die Hard. Well, now I've got a machine gun. It's like Die Hard, isn't it? Ho, 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 ho. Now I've got a machine gun. Oh, have you got one now? Oh, you're on equal footing with the terrorists. Now Bruce Willis has got a machine gun as well. Max Hill. A lot of terrorists hijacking us, real terrorists. Where are the real terrorists? Oh, in the corporate building, in control of a corporate building. Surprise, surprise, Max Hill. Oh, now I'm the leader of the Crown Prosecution Service. Now I'm director of Prosecutions. Oh, get acquitted, did you, Angela? Oh, get acquitted, did you? The tunnel has been acquitted. Oh, we can't have that. Can't have them having their rights upheld. I'll take them to the High Court. We'll make sure that they don't have any rights when I've finished with them. Oh, look, the law. Town and Country Planning Act. Oh, scribble it out, pretend it doesn't exist. Rip it up, throw it away. What's that? Never heard of it. I'm Max Hill. I completely disregard. I program it into the back of my brain. Completely ignore realms of legislation. Doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist. It's all right for Max. It's almost like, it's like the Matrix, isn't it? You know, with the agents, you know, trying to defeat us. It says in the Bill of Rights that when you're petitioning His Majesty's government, all prosecutions are illegal, which equates to anything remotely connected to the Crown Prosecution Service, which means you don't use legal actions when it comes to opposing the government. Legal actions aren't used. So how do you control the situation? Well, control it how you want, without prosecutions, no charges. That means Max Hill and his entire department is retired from service when it comes to political matters. You control it with the police can mediate between, use, incident management, site management, manage the site, use the police, mediate, send some diplomats in like they do with the army in embassies and overseas. Like when we send our army in with tanks and bombs and guns. You know, oh no, you can't have your paint set. You know, they don't say that Putin doesn't say that in Ukraine. Oh no, you can't have your paint set. You know, no blades, no bows, leave your weapons here, not allowed to have those tanks. You know, this is it. Says here, right, presenting petitions overseas in embassy. Well, it's regarded as overseas in the embassy. Are you going to make legislation to prevent prescribed number of people presenting it? Nope, they're not. So what it comes back to is this private property. When it comes to those oil rigs and placing advertisements on private property on oil rigs, then again, you know, where are they in the North Sea? You know, what property is there? Is it a vessel or what? You know, for certain, a block of flats that has multiple residents, you see, when you're walking up, how does the mailman... The problem that Max Hill has is this. How does the mailman deliver a letter to Max Hill's mailbox? It's like Black Belt Barrister, isn't it? Motion detected outside, motion detected outside, motion detected outside, motion detected outside. Oh, there's someone outside. You know, it's a postman's here. I'm sorry, you're trespassing. Oh, I'm delivering you a letter. Well, you're still trespassing, you know. Well, why don't you put a sign on your gate? You know, well, you know, I've got some important, serious legal letters from the government to deliver to you. I don't want them. Well, you're going to have them. You know, service of notices. If you don't have any money at all, if you got like £1 or 50p for a tin of paint, I'm going to deliver a message to this block of flats, which is visible from the public, because the public right away straight through it anyway, and I'll write on the side of it, will you sign petition number 36842965, either online or sign here, right here next to the wall, you know, and, I'll collect the signatures later. Maybe I'll take a photograph of them after you've signed it. You know, I'll write the petition on the side of the block of flats. Any of these residents in these flats who wishes to sign it, please write so here underneath. And after you've finished, at the end of the period of time, I'll take a photograph of them all. You know, this is it. If you can't afford letters for every house, if you can't afford the printer ink, which actually costs a fortune for the printer ink for every single house, this is it, creativity. Yeah, it's all right for Max Hill and the police to be creative with the charges. Oh, we'll do him for criminal damage. Oh, why not do him for stealing an ice cream as well? Well, they haven't stolen ice cream. Well, we can fit it in somewhere. We'll think of a way. This is a problem. After all those Euxton Gardens actions, they charged them with trespassing. which, it doesn't even really sound that bad, does it, compared to the word criminal damage? Well, actually, it's not criminal damage, it turns out now. It's Town and Country Planning Act. And you should have known that all along. You're meant to be the Director of Prosecutions. Shabby. It's worse than shabby. There's criminal intent. Max Hill intended to deceive the public and steal the rights of the public so they weren't on an equal footing. He also is using a public service, taxpayer-funded service, for his own political ends. He's using it as a tool, his own personal tool, or the prosecutors who don't like it are forming their own soccer team and they're giving it a try. Oh, we'll give it a try, we'll see what we can get out of it. We'll give them a try, give it a try. We'll try them for criminal damage. We'll give them a try. We'll have a try with it. Oh, didn't work that time. Oh, no, not guilty. Went to, Cambridgeshire Court, not guilty. Oh, we'll give it another try then, Max. Give it another try in the High Court. Try again. Try some information. Try this information. Wrong charge. Now, how about us? It's about time we don't have, Joy Morton with his 100 solicitors have pledged not to prosecute protesters. Aren't they kind? 100 solicitors have pledged not to prosecute protesters. That's brilliant. Now, what I'd like to see, where are all the prosecutors? Oh, they all work for the CPS. Where are all the private prosecutors? It's like Marshall McLaughlin or whatever he's called. It's about time we tested out the immunity of these government officials. Let's test out the immunity. Let's see how far the immunity goes. Let's test the boundaries of it. Let's give it a try. Max likes trying our political rights and immunities. He's been trying so hard that they nearly disintegrated into nothing. And then when Rishi Sunak and Patel have finished with them, there's no left of them. No, but then we can't be held to any commitments. Where are the 100 volunteer lawyers who are going to, now I got a machine gun. We're doing terrorists. There's some terrorists holding us to ransom in the building. There were a couple of terrorists in the tunnel. Well, there's a terrorist at the top of the CPS building. Faulty Towers. Ministry of Justice. Oh, look, it's the Democratic Society. Oh, no, the Institution Society. Sir Jack. Keir Starmer. Sue Carr. Attorney General, the High Sheriff, Lord Advocate. Where is the 100 lawyers who are going to have a try at prosecuting some of these Crown prosecutors, police chiefs? No, actions against the police. Actions against the police. Oh, yeah, you chucked us around in a cell a bit, and had me, squirming on the floor in my own sick. And you put this procedure through wrong. We're going to sue you for damages. No, sick of suing them. We need some convictions, prosecutions. They believe that we don't have full immunity from prosecution. We can be tried. We can get convictions out of us, even though it says can't be prosecuted. Well, let's see what convictions we get out of the police chiefs then. Because they are in charge of these charges. How did the prosecution get to Max Hill? The police brought it. How about Simon Cole with my charges? Criminal charges against me. Illegal. I want some of these people to do jail time. Simon Cole, Simon Byrne, run off to Northern Ireland, installing speed cameras on bends in the road when they're supposed to be straight. Frank Garrett, Max Hill, Keir Starmer. Lies, fraud, perverting the course of justice. Some of these justices, they can only be tried by their equals. Well, Where are the volunteer magistrates, volunteer judges, volunteer lords, barons? Oh, they can only be fined and prosecuted by their equals. Slod Anningfield, he's in Salford Crown Court. Well, he can't be judged by a jury. Well, I want to see some of these lords having sex with each other. Fucking each other. Pardon my English. I want to see some fucking action going on between these lords. Sex. We've got impeachments left, right and centre in America. Trying at Trump, having a try at Trump, having a try at Trump. I'm sick of them having a try at Trump. There's been more tries at Trump than tries in rugby matches. We need some sex action with these officials. They've perverted the course of justice. Some of this is in a public position. It's not enough to stand down. Now, if Max Hill is immune from prosecution for perverting the course of justice, it's not enough for him to stand down in March. Or say he's standing down in March. If he can't be prosecuted, then those tunnellers can't be prosecuted. Because according to this, according to the postman, you can go on property to deliver advertisements, even if it's private, particularly when it's political material, and even into embassies. Service of notices, and that notice may be a theatrical delivery, particularly when it's on TV and broadcast everywhere, like it is a scene from Die Hard. So it almost like was a scene from that. In fact, it put Die Hard to shame. At least, Bruce Willis is running across the floor on plastic glass, rubber glass. This is, I wouldn't mind. But these films, they fill us up with all these toxic foods like donuts and get us to watch these movies, play out the hero part of the psychology in the mind on the screen, entertain it in your mind, but, to actually do it. Well, no, Max Hill's doing a very good job of playing out the villain model of the psyche because he is completely lying about the law, completely undermining entire acts of legislation as if they don't exist, and then saying, I'll have to step down now. It's my turn off the merry-go-round. Yes, they're important. Oh, there are very serious crimes to address. People putting firecrackers up their bottom and lighting them, throwing them through windows, and, writing up 3 generations of history. Yeah, why is Max Hill not shutting Syngenta down for pumping out poisonous chemicals? This is why we need Robert F. Kennedy in the government in a world leader position, and then the whole world will change, and then we'll see our prosecution department used to prosecute these polluters, used to prosecute these big corporate entities. Not kneel before the king like Keir Starmer and Patrick Stewart. Kneel before your master. No, thank you for leading the CPS. Now you can be one of my knights in my army. No, actually, I'm Charles. I'm beyond leaders. In fact, I am the king, but I'm beyond I'm beyond myself. How'd you get there? I'm having an out-of-body experience. It's Charles is having an out-of-body experience. I'm beyond myself. I'm beyond leaders, but I'm the ultimate. I'm the king. I'm beyond myself, with trillions at my disposal. Right? Why is Syngenta putting in and expanding the chemical factory when I've already put a claim in that they've already desiccated important, serious, ancient sites that have been purposely selected for imperial chemical industries to write them off? Have had housing estates built on them to celebrate the Queen's coronation by duncing us with a D estate, by also drilling into the ancient Tor, into the side of it, quarrying into the side of it to mar and deface it, and then putting after the public have successfully opposed the obsessive planning permission of the council and, Prince Andrew and his cohorts, and then, let them, they're tired now. We've run them down. They've opposed it, twice they opposed that, planning application, but now, they're giving in now. They've had enough. We've run them around the block a few times, and now there it is. Micrographics now is an aviation memorabilia shop. Now get that into the brain cells, and then what happens just up the road a couple of years later? We've primed them all for the... now it's Incora, straight into the brain core like an Elon Musk microchip. Boom! There's my new industrial estate we've always wanted, that you were trying to object against year after year after year, but yet there it is, because, there was no intention at all whatsoever not to build it. It was going to be built whether you liked it or not. Might as well have, Patrick Stewart's, you might as well have a mural of Patrick Stewart on the side of it made out of small tiles. Going where no man has gone before. We can't stop these companies. It's a team. They're using it. Every time they win, it means something. Now, what's the point in a joke? Because it's funny. Do jokes exist? Yes, comedians. What's the point in a joke? Oh, it means something funny. It has a translation, a meaning, a symbol, a message, and when you understand it and get that message, you get a giggle out of it like this, because the meaning of it is mocking someone or something. Almost like Max Hill's name. I'm the maximum, Max Hill, right? Or is it like Max off the Lost Boys? Who's Max? This is it. That aviation place was strategically planned, and it was always going to be in Cora, because it's into the core of our ancient site that was quarried in, massacred, and then built on to coincide with the Queen's coronation. There's photographs of King George signing the opening of the chemical place, and it's absolutely obliterated it, and now they're putting planning permission in. Why isn't Max Hill prosecuting these people? Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? I've just told you the evidence. It is an attack on history and heritage. Yet now Max Hill's tweeting, someone put a firecracker through a window and, killed the family, wrote off, 3 generations of family. Where are the prosecutions against Charles and Andrew? Because whenever anyone started sniffing around there, then, Sarah Ferguson ends up in a newspaper and it's like, don't go sniffing around the business deals of Andrew. And then it's Epstein in movie circles. Andrew and Epstein. Oh, that's funny. I've got a movie story as well. A movie story about by someone with the exact same name as me, funnily enough. And an aeroplane engine drops on them at the end of the movie. Oh, that's funny. Just a bit like dropping an aeroplane engine factory on our town and village, just next to where it dropped, next to the ancient site, and where a stray plane just happened to try and drop a torpedo bomb on the other, top of the Clogteach Tower, top of the Irish-shaped tower that Beaumont built up the road as well. Just missed slimly by a bomb in the war, by a stray mysterious plane. There's a pattern emerging here. It's personal. It's actually personal between people of history and heritage versus foreign invaders, malicious foreign invaders, not just foreign people who happen to be, migrating or moving. We're talking about people who intentionally come over here and take over with an intent to take control of everyone and steal all their money. You know, like sending them around doing the Domesday Book. No, your farm's worth 500 and now it's only worth 250, right? Because we say. And not only that, we'll have you all growing this and we'll have you all growing these crops, peasants, because otherwise, you might, otherwise be on the ball. Poisoning us, toxic poison, and then lying about the figures. You see, this is what Robert F. Kennedy's talking about now. He agrees with me that when you look around now, the majority of people you look at are overweight. But you've got Ken Loach and Jeremy Corbyn. It's almost like Richard Verbs is a climate denier. Verbs is on the right side, except with the environment. He doesn't think there's a problem with the environment, right? It's like that. Jeremy Corbyn and Ken Loach are on the right side, but they're like obesity deniers. They're like, they're deniers. Oh, no, people are starving. They're going on and about all these people starving. How many people actually die because they run out of fuel and just die? Or malnutrition? If you look at the figures, it actually isn't very high. Not that many people are actually run out of fuel, and that is the cause of death or malnutrition. In England, anyway. I'm not saying in the world, but in England. So there's all this, people are hungry, starving, but they're not actually dying of that, which means that they are short of food for long periods of time, but they don't die of that. Now, the problem is that all the people who are overweight and all the people who are over obesity, if they just suddenly stopped eating altogether, then they'd die before they lost weight. If you just stopped eating and didn't eat at all, then you'd actually die quicker than you lost weight, because you've got to eat something, right? So actually you want a hell of a lot of people to actually be hungry for a long time, but not completely stop eating. That's what you actually need. You really need them to be like these people that Ken Roach and Jeremy Corbyn are talking about. Right? Which is, they're getting some food, but not much. Well, that's what the majority of people should be doing. Getting some food, but not much. People, statistically, aren't just dying because they haven't got any food. They just run out of any, they just aren't putting any fuel in themselves and they just die. Not many at all, statistically. They're just complaining and grumbling because they've not got any food, but yet they're going to food banks, but they're not dying of it. So, Ken Loach and Jeremy Corbyn are like almost like Richard Verbs is a climate denier, but Corbyn and Loach are obesity deniers. They're denying the Max Hill has just completely and totally lied blatantly he's in the trust of the public. And after a woman was acquitted by the courts, he went and after got convicted again. He did that. He went after her. And he's just done it with the Houston tunnelers as well. And I've got a case for the HS2 people being able to protect those trees in order for there to be a case to save them. Because if you can't form a protective circle around them while you're pursuing a case to protect them, then there's nothing left there to protect. I can tell you that to Max Hill, right? So, when it comes out of trespassing, it's a miracle that the postman can get up get to the letterbox. According to Max Hill, we should all be attaching things to the building because you can't enter the property. You can't walk up the driveway. Oh, I'm in the garden. Well, I'm service of notices. It's Houston tunnelers. We're serving notice in a theatrical performance type of serving notice on private property. This is it. I'm sick of Max Hill and his public directions. I want to see 100 volunteer lawyers who are going to start getting the machine guns out and start having a try against these prosecutors. Like that Crown prosecutor from Leeds several years ago was boasting to me about, there's a very famous case in Cornwall. A criminal damage was successfully brought against someone who was drawing murals on the floor in watercolours, even though we know it washes away. Isn't a picture, sign or message meant to be dealt with under the, Town and Country Planning Act? Maybe it was before 1991. It could have been before 1991. Maybe it was before 2007. That, maybe he couldn't do that after 2007. But the way he was talking to me, it sounded like quite a legendary case that Crown prosecutors like to cite. And to be honest, even in 1991, the definition was made in 1991. I'm sure it's not like an old case from 1987 or something like that. It could have been, but no. It was certainly after 2007 when I spoke to that Crown prosecutor from Leeds anyway. And I'd love to find the email with it, actually, and remember his name, not Sam Goozy. This is it. The defiance. They actually think that it's good. They think that it's cool, clever, panache, stylish when they reel off these cited cases. They're very proud of them. If they manage to get a charge through for this or that successfully, that they're proud of it. In fact, Max Hill was proud they took Angela Ditchfield back to High Court and got her prosecuted. It was his primary objective. The problem is, these people working in this prosecution, they've got their own ideas of what should and shouldn't be, but they aren't the ideas that are written down in the law. They're their own ideas, and actually happens to... They want the country to be run a certain way, not the way that it's legislated in. So they, instead of themselves asking if the law can be changed, like Priti Patel and Rishi Sunak's been doing, and Suella Braverman, what they do, instead of, why don't they do some lobbying and protesting themselves and get the law changed? Why don't get the Town and Country Planning Acts abolished? No, instead, we'll just try a different act instead. We'll just completely ignore that act exists, disregard it and undermine it, and we'll have a try with the Criminal Damage Act. Oh, look how it worked. Successful. Amazing. Good try. Well, I had to lie, but it's a good try. This is the problem. But what they're doing is they're committing fraud while they're running public services, which is a big no-no. Criminal. Now, we need to start trying some of these Crown prosecutors' immunity and see how that stands up in court. We need to start trying some of these Director of Prosecutions immunities. Keir Starmer, Knight of the Realm, Jimmy Savile, touch me up the wrong way. Lord Anningfield, some of these barons. I want to see baron sex and not Baroness on Baroness M's yacht or whatever with a lingerie company involved. I want to see baron sex. I want to see court cases with barons fucking each other in court, in England, in Parliament. Sex in public. Broadcast and live streamed on every mobile phone. That's what I want to see. Sex, like with Oliver Cromwell. Royalists and Roundheads, like with our ancient site, our ancient liberal site. Sex with the Queen on the coronation, crowning it with a D and quarrying into the side of it and then sticking in Cora up the fucking road with an aeroplane company next to Micrographics, which has primed everyone with aviation products, several years before. And shortly after banging the newly formed Labour Party emblem, the Victoria Tower, on our other ancient site, and then proceeding to implant the Imperial Chemical Industries at the mouth of the river, polluting the entire area. And now they're putting planning permission in to expand it. Where are the petitions for referendum for that? Stop Cop City. Where's our Stop Cop City? Why aren't the prosecution, more concerned about firecrackers at people's bottoms and, car windows getting smashed than human life being transformed into Mr. Blobby? Intelligence being undermined. And then we all end up like dumplings, and then people like Max Hill can pull a fast one on us, and liars lie about our rights because no one's got a clue about the law because he's made us all stupid. And then he can show off like his prosecutors and be proud, cocky, Like Sam Goosey, oh look, I'll give you your court card, but it's got the wrong time written down on it, Sam. Here I am turning up at court to meet Mr. Carr and Co. Oh, I'm sorry, you're late. They've already had that hearing. Well, here's the card that Sam Goosey gave me. Here's the time on it. It's the wrong time. He wrote the wrong time down. He lied. And then now he's somehow climbing up the ranks. Now he's leading the local advisory committee. Now he's a magistrate in Manchester. Now he's DJ Goosey in London. He's climbing up the ladder. Yeah, it starts with crime. Small crime to bigger crime. Lies, 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 like Max Hill. In the name of the king, like Keir Starmer. It's personal. This is our island. And then invaders come over, take over, send somebody around doing a doomsday survey, tell us we're all worth half than we are, we're worth nothing, then take over the place and form courts and judges, and then say we're all criminals, write the laws out, and then they lie about the law in order to get convictions against us when it clearly is forbidden for the entire facility of prosecutors to get involved in politics. P for prosecutor, P for politics. Clock out and go home. You don't try against politics. You don't even try. Don't try. You're not allowed to have a go, an attempt at it. It clearly states all prosecutions are illegal. The entire Crown Prosecution Service is retired from all involvement in political matters that are being brought because there's already an existing case. Now, if you want site management, get the police chief down like he does at Stonehenge when an entire force has got nothing better to do than sit in their vehicles and twiddle their thumbs doing breath tests on hippies. Because they wanted to have a weekend off, turning up at the festival as well. Send them down to manage the site. They can't bring any charges. Send diplomats to meet with Gail Bradbrook. But Rishi doesn't want to. He wants to send Boris Johnson to talk Zelensky down from bringing peace with Russia. But he doesn't want to send diplomats round to Extinction Rebellion headquarters to negotiate with Gail Bradbrook because he doesn't want to negotiate with her. So we get the weaponry out, the paint, the blocking of the tunnels. This is a civil war. And that's one thing that Max Hill doesn't understand. Because now we've got a machine gun as well. And if Max Hill wants a different job, why doesn't he be head of the army and he can actually have a machine gun? Why doesn't Max Hill just join the army and then he can go kill people with live ammunition?